everyone, and welcome back to another Moon's Movie Moments. Today, I want to talk to you about Raya and the Last Dragon, as it recently came out of the paywall on Disney+. Today, we are going to be talking about the main moral of the movie and 5 pairings in which this moral was key to the movie. This is your spoiler warning, and this is me transitioning into the actual conversation. 1. Parents trusting their children. I think the main message of the movie was quite clear. It's all about trust. They literally spell it out to us viewers multiple times in the film. We need to start trusting each other, and part of this starts with parents trusting their children. Raya's father trusts Raya at a very young age to help him in his mission, to protect the one remaining piece of the stone, and then later on to repair the stone once it broke. With her father's faith in her, Raya finds herself able to do incredible things, such as find the dragon and ultimately repair the stone. But something I feel a lot of people might miss is that her father, putting his trust in her, allowed Raya to want to understand and act on her father's teachings. Raya knows her father trusts her and is proud of her, and because of that, Raya works extra hard to hold on to his teachings and act them out in her own life, going so far as to make the soup for Naomi that her father made for the leaders of the tribe. On the opposite side, Naomi's mother also trusts Naomi at first, but the moment Naomi fails in her eyes, that trust is lost. Raya's father still trusted Raya, even after her actions led to the stone being broken. In fact, I'm sure he would have approved of Raya's actions in showing Naomi the stone if she had told her plans to her father. But Raya does not trust Naomi, and her decisions to aid the dragon. She has her own plans and ideas and forces Naomi to have to choose between her mother and what she feels is the right thing to do. This broken trust leads to the death of Suzu and nearly the destruction of the world. It can be hard to trust your children, especially when you know your children are not ready for the amount of trust you are putting on them. But if you never give them a trust that they can't achieve, then they'll never learn to go to you and others for aid or to grow to reach those stars they never thought was possible. 2. Children trusting their parents. This trust also goes in the opposite direction. A child needs to learn to trust their parents. Sure, sometimes your parents are wrong, just as Raya was, but obedience is not trust. Trust is believing when it comes to it, they will not hurt you, even at a great cost to themselves. The trust Raya and Naomi have to their parents is something you rarely see in this world. When both go against the teachings of their parents, it is never in hatred. These parents-daughter relationships is beautiful to see because the great amount of trust involved. In the end, Raya trusts in her dad's method of repairing the world, and it works. In the end, Naomi trusts her mother will remain proud of her even if she goes against her advice, and Viara was. Trust can be a one-way street, but it only works properly if it goes both ways. Otherwise, car crashes will occur. 3. Nations trusting other nations. We need this so badly today, with stereotypes and anger over things that happened generations ago tainting nations' relationships with each other. I loved as Raya brought into her group a person from every tribe, and only by working together were they able to repair the world. Also, the majority of these members were children, showing how it's often the children who want the unity more than the parents. I want to detour for a moment and remind people of who suffers the most when trust is removed from the world. Because it is the children. Children who don't want to understand why they can't play with this friend because they don't see the differences that their parents do. Children who have to mend broken relationships caused by their parents. Children who have overwhelming and unfair expectations placed on them because their parents failed to live up to their own. Trust does not have to start with the youth. It can and should start at every age. Anyways, nations have differences, but that does not mean we should be enemies. I think a thing this movie did well was point out that often this hostility is created from the belief that the other nations have it better. It comes from not being content with what you have or from not focusing on making your part of the world better. Heart Kingdom thrived because they focused on making the most of what they had, not because of the stone. One of the reasons Raya's group succeeded was because each member simply wanted to return to what they once had. They no longer wanted what other tribes had, they just wanted their homes and families back. 4. Trust in yourself. I'm not going to spend too long on this as I feel the world is me-centered enough as it is, but you should learn to trust yourself. You know what you can and can't do, and that can-do list is often longer and better than what you give yourself credit for. If there's something you feel called to do, then go and do it, because humans are amazing and can do amazing things if they trust those around them and trust in themselves. 5. Trust in God. Surprise! This Christian YouTuber is going to bring God into a movie that seems to have none, which is where I'm going to give you one word. Dragons. Dragons in this movie were the embodiment of all that was good and the prime example of how trust should work. So, in the real world, God is all that and more, so my correlation is a valid one. Oftentimes we trust in other people and ourselves way too much, and because of that, when we do make mistakes, or other people make mistakes, it hits us hard. We forget that someone is out there who knows how everything's going to work out, and that if we trust in him, the instructions he gives us, then their lives will be filled with purpose and joy. Not happiness, but joy. It was only by trusting Susu and by following the dragon's example that the stone was repaired, and all the dragons brought back to life. In a similar way, we need to follow Jesus' example and trust in God to repair our own lives. I'm aware that a lot of the stuff you have heard before, but repetition and reminders is good for you, so I regret nothing. This was another movie I enjoyed, especially the message behind it. Trust is something often overlooked, so it was great to see an entire movie where that was the primary focus. So now it's your turn to talk about the movie. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on it were. Did you like or dislike it, and why? Also, what are your own thoughts on trust? Do you agree with me or disagree? I'm open to all feedback, especially those backed with examples. But this is all I've got time for today. I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!